What are the benefits of having our own certification authority? The first benefit is security. We'll be able to specify that we only trust certificates issued by our own certification authority. We would avoid risks associated with the fact that someone else has already invested in a certificate and we now indirectly trust him. Secondly, we have greater control over the certificates themselves. We can, for example, immediately revoke them. An attempt to revoke a certificate that for some reason has been compromised, for example, someone stole a smart card, takes a very long time. Maybe some of you have learned that this is not such an easy procedure. Thirdly, we'll probably benefit from it. If we issue 50, 100, or 200 certificates, at this point the cost to purchase these certificates will exceed the cost of starting a public key infrastructure. Since we decided to have our own infrastructure, we just need to plan it. First, remember that one certification authority may not issue all the certificates for the company. This is a single point of trust. If something happens, if someone discredits the certification authority, then we lose trust on a global scale. The entire computer system stops working. No one sends mail and computers don't connect with each other because IPsec doesn't work. It's one big disaster. The cost of rectifying such a situation will be enormous. Having a hierarchy of certificates, we obtain two things. First of all, the root certification authority will be better protected because it's turned off and locked in a safe. This will be a computer that we pull out of the safe once a year and only turn on for a moment, not connecting it to a local network. It'll be harder to break into. Secondly, the subordinate certification authority will be, for example, functional. We could have only a certification authority responsible for IPsec. If something bad happened to that authority, then all certificates connected with IPsec must be revoked and most likely will be reissued later. But everything else works. It has not been compromised. If we want to be in accordance with certain classification documents of our computer system, we need to plan a 2 or 3 level hierarchy. Moreover, certificates of root certification authorities will have to be issued by a device that generates external hardware certificates. The hierarchy of our certification authority may look as follows. We'll have a root certification authority and 2 subordinate authorities. One of them will support the internal network and the second the external network, such as business partners. Under those authorities will be the functional authorities responsible for various types of certificates. In Windows, we have 2 types of available certification authorities. The first is called the standalone. This is a certification authority that we can install ourselves on the computer, which is not a member of the Active Directory domain. The second is the Enterprise Certification Authority. As you might have guessed, this authority requires Active Directory. Standalone is much less functional. There's no automatic processing of certificate requests. It is also more limited when it comes to the types of certificates it may issue. At the Enterprise Certification Authority, requests can be processed automatically, and we can create our own templates for certificates. It follows that the root certification authority should be a standalone. It's disconnected all the time from networks anyway. However, all the subordinate authorities should be enterprise certification authorities. Since the root certification authority is a standalone and operates offline, or it's most often turned off, we need to change a few things during installation. This is one of the few places in the Microsoft environment where before you run the installer, we have to manually change the configuration file. Later, it's impossible to change it. The file name capolicy.inv must be prepared according to the template presented below and saved in the Windows folder. The installer will find it there and use it. What do we need to change? It would be good to enter a security policy. This policy is recorded in the certificate, and everyone who has it knows how it should be used. In this file, it will be abbreviated, but there will also be the address of the full policy. We should also configure certain things related to the length of the key and the validity of the certificate. This is the most important certificate that we have. Therefore, it should be the best protected. This should be a long key, but also valid for a long time. The certification authority may not issue certificates valid for longer than its own certificate. This would be meaningless. If the validity date in this file is not long enough, then automatically we shorten the lifetime of all certificates in the company. Such a certificate is unlikely to be revoked. Therefore, we should extend the period of publishing the certificate revocation list. If we don't do this, we'll have to turn on the computer that's stored in the safe or closet more frequently just to generate a new CRL list, in which case we indicate that we have not revoked certificates. At the end, we need to change two pieces of information. Where is the data of the certification authority and certificate revocation lists available? By default, they are available locally. We would want for them to be published by one of the subordinate certification authorities which are currently online. After preparation of such a file, we run the wizard and return to the Windows environment. We accept the next screen, and from that moment the certification authority operates. We had already mentioned that later we will configure two attributes, indicating where the actual information will be available about the authority and the lists on the company's network. Using the command line, we need to extend the validity period of the certificate. For this, we have a tool called certutil. Later, we publish the certificate from the root certification authority. We do this in two places, on the website server and on the domain controller. We would also like for our clients to be able to verify our identity both over the web and automatically. This entire procedure is much easier for subordinate certification authorities. They are online, and by default, the settings are correct. Nothing needs to be changed or extended. The thing that's interesting is that the subordinate certification authority does not run until it's on the trusted list. The subordinate certification authority must submit a certificate request to the root certification authority. The certification authority is blocked until the request is processed.